Royal and humble greetings to each and every one. Today we're going to be talking about a significant figure in the history of Southern Africa. Born around 1804, he led the Batlokwa people through a period marked by wars, shifting alliances, and the encroachment of European settlers. Known for his fierce leadership, his life was filled with victories and defeats that had a lasting impact on his people and the region. He is best remembered for his conflict with King Moshoeshoe I of the Basotho and his complex relationship with the missionaries, the Voortrekkers, and other tribes. Sekonyela was born around 1804 to Chief Mokotjo of the Batlokwa and Manyanduwe of the Basiya. After giving birth to Sekonyela's elder sibling, Ntatisi, Manyanduwe became known as Mantatisi. The Batlokwa at the time lived in the valleys of Namahadi River. Sekonyela's father, Mokotjo, led the Mokotleng Tlokwa chiefdom, but died from a disease while attempting to claim land from the rival Batlokwa chief, Libasa. At the time of his father's death, Sekonyela was only 9 years old. Like his father before him, Sekonyela was too young to assume leadership immediately. His mother, Queen Mantatisi, became regent, guiding the Batlokwa people through challenging times. To protect Sekonyela from political rivals, she sent him to live with her people, the Basiya. There, he attended circumcision school and was mentored by his uncle, Litlala, the chief of the Basiya. This not only kept him safe, but also prepared him for his future role as Kgosi. During the chaotic period known as the Sebetwane, Mantatisi led the Batlokwa on a 2-year wandering journey between the Sand and Orange River. During this time, they survived largely through plunder. By the winter of 1824, the tribe settled at Marabeng, but both the population and their cattle herds had been significantly reduced. By this time, Sekonyela returned to his people and effectively took over leadership from his mother. Though the exact date of his official succession is uncertain. In the late 1830s, Sekonyela faced his first major challenge as Kgosi. European missionaries had begun spreading Christianity among African tribes, but Sekonyela remained distrustful of them, unlike other chiefs who welcomed their presence. This distrust strained relationships between the Batlokwa and Europeans. Around the same time, Sekonyela came into contact with the Voortrekkers, or the Dutch settlers, moving into the interior in search of land and livestock. This led to tensions as Voortrekkers either negotiated or forcibly took land from local communities. Sekonyela and his people settled near Caledon River in 1830. Here, his major rival became King Moshoeshoe I of the Basotho. For over 20 years, the two leaders engaged in raids against each other, competing for control over modern-day northern Lesotho, and for followers from refugee bands scattered across the region. In 1836, French missionary called Thomas visited Sekonyela, estimating that the Batlokwa population to be around 14,000, with 1,400 people living in Marabeng. The same year, the Batlokwa were attacked by the Korana raiders, a nomadic group known for their horse riding and shooting skills. Impressed by their abilities, Sekonyela requested that the Korana teach his people these skills. However, this partnership was short-lived due to disputes that led the Korana to steal most of the Batlokwa cattle and relocate. Sekonyela's people were forced to retreat into the Maluti Mountains, where they suffered further losses of cattle. The wars with the Korana, coupled with Sekonyela's own raids, weakened the Batlokwa considerably. In 1837, Sekonyela's people stole cattle from the Zulu king Dingane. When Dingane demanded the return of his cattle, Sekonyela sent a disrespectful response. In retaliation, Dingane enlisted Voortrekker leader Piet Retief to deal with Sekonyela. Retief tricked Sekonyela and imprisoned him. To secure his release, Sekonyela was forced to return the stolen cattle and pay an additional ransom of 700 cattle, 70 horses, and 30 muskets. Retief kept much of the ransom for himself, using Sekonyela's actions as leverage in his own negotiations with King Dingane, which ultimately failed when Dingane executed Retief and his men. Sekonyela continued to face challenges on all sides. In 1849, he reconciled with Korana leader Gert Daibosch, leading to renewed attacks against Moshoeshoe I. However, Moshoeshoe soon lodged complaints with the British authorities in Orange Free State, accusing Sekonyela of frequent raids on the Basotho and Bataung. Though a military campaign against Sekonyela was planned, it was avoided through mediation, and Sekonyela paid a fine of 300 cows to show remorse. Sekonyela also launched successful raids against neighboring chiefdoms. But by 1852, Moshoeshoe had grown tired of his constant incursions. After the Batlokwa stole Moshoeshoe's horses, Moshoeshoe assembled a large army of around 7,000 men and attacked several of Sekonyela's villages. Though Sekonyela offered peace, his people suffered significant losses, including nearly 50 men and most of their cattle. Despite these setbacks, Sekonyela refused Moshoeshoe's offer of an alliance to face the growing threats of British and Boer expansion, fearing subordination to the Basotho king. This decision would have lasting consequences for Sekonyela and his people. In late 1853, after the death of his Korana ally, Daibosch, Sekonyela's forces were defeated by the Basotho army. He was driven out of Jwalaboholo, and most of his people either joined Moshoeshoe's growing kingdom or fled to other regions. Sekonyela, with a few followers, relocated to Winburg and later settled in Wittenberg Reserve in the Eastern Cape, where he was given land by George Russell Clark. Sekonyela had 7 wives who bore him children. Though he had several other wives who did not have children, foreign visitors often described Sekonyela unfavorably, partly due to his persecution of Christian converts, 3 of whom he personally executed on accusation of witchcraft. Modern-day Batlokwa refer to Sekonyela as Bohale, due to his temperament and the harsh treatment he sometimes inflicted on his people. Despite his flaws, Sekonyela remains a significant figure in Southern African history, remembering his resilience and the complex legacy he left behind. Kgosi Sekonyela's life was one of immense challenges, power struggles, and shifting alliances. His leadership during the Mfecane, his conflicts with King Moshoeshoe I, and his interactions with Europeans shaped the region in profound ways. Although his people ultimately suffered defeat, his story remains as an essential part of South African history. Now that was Kgosi Sekonyela, the son of Queen Mantatisi, who was born in present-day Harrismith. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Until the next one, thank you for watching.